Alright, that was today. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, I forgot I was coming back today. Just enjoying my vacation. Got lemonade all over the floor. Anyway, welcome back to Kitchen Witchin' again. Coming to you from the ugliest kitchen in America. I'm your host, Izzy Bianco. Thank you for joining me again after my little sabbatical there. So today, as you've probably already guessed, because I have it written on the board, and also we're doing zucchini stuff today, because, oh my god, I can't stop growing zucchini. Oh my god! Last year I couldn't stop growing tomatoes. This year I can't stop growing zucchini. I don't know what's going on. So this year I'm the queen of the zucchini, or the zucchini. So yeah, we're having an El Nino year, which means lots of rain, pretty decently warm weather, and plants like that, so yeah, we're getting a lot of produce. So now I've been trying to think of what to do with the zucchini, because traditionally I have not been great at growing squash. This year it's taking over everything. I've got like 4 pumpkins out there. I can't seem to stop getting squash to grow. I still have 2 out there that are going to be ripe in about 2 days. And yeah, I have 20,000 green tomatoes that don't want to ripen, and I can't seem to stop getting zucchini. So it's been a weird year, because usually it's the opposite. The zucchini dies off and the tomatoes won't stop producing. And I usually have too many, like, you know, containers of frozen tomato and clogging up my entire freezer. But like my physical therapist Barb said this spring, you don't have any friends if you don't get random packages of zucchini on your porch in the summer. And if this keeps going on, I'm going to just be covertly delivering zucchinis in the middle of the night to my neighbors. Like, please God, take these, because, oh my god. Seriously, if you people want zucchini, just help me. I'm drowning in zucchini right now. So I have devised a fun episode. Well, I think it's fun, but all about zucchini. So we're gonna make an appetizer. We're gonna make an entree. And I know some of you out there are like, you can't have zucchini as an entree. Well, when you forget that there's zucchini that's growing and you can't find it because your foliage is this big, you have zucchini as an entree. Look at this thing. This is like 10 pounds of zucchini. I'm not even kidding. So we're gonna stuff this big old mother. It's gonna be a meal. Oh my god. And then for dessert, we're gonna have some zucchini bread, which is delicious. So it's gonna be chocolate chip zucchini bread. As you can see, I've been very busy growing too much produce while I've been off. But so when we get back, we're gonna start with our fried zucchini, which is like, I don't know, some people have not ever had fried zucchini, which is surprising to me because it's a great appetizer. You can find it in restaurants. And we're going to get that in just a minute while I move the camera over here so I can do our frying. So we will be back in just a second to start our fun zucchini experiments. So we'll see you then. Okay, we are back and ready to get frying. Now I have a normal size zucchini. I got this out of the garden today. This is when you're supposed to pick them. They can even be a little bit smaller than this, but this is the ideal zucchini size. Not that giant one. It got that big because I couldn't see it, because it's like I have zucchini foliage that's like this big, and there's like tons and tons of leaves, and I can't see it because everything's this color. So ideally, this is what you want your zucchinis to look like when you pick them. So we're just gonna give it, just slice it in half, slice it in quarters, and then go half again. That might be a little bit thick for what we want. actually pretty perfect right there. Just strips. It's a little bit big on the end, but it's pretty close to what we need. I try not to do it too thin because you want them to retain their structural integrity when they're being fried. And that might be a little bit too thin. Okay. Oh, and I should mention, you probably hear it burning away, but I have my oil on. It's just regular canola oil like I usually use. If you remember back to the French fry episode. It's too small for fry. Don't judge me. Real quick. Yeah, it's getting there. It's hitting about 300 right now. I had it turned on about a minute or two before I started filming. Cut it in half. Just a couple more. Woo! Storming out. I don't know if you can hear. Okay. I made a bit of a mess, but pretty much the perfect size. Not too thin, not too thick. Easily manageable. Sorry, I shouldn't have eaten that. Now what we're going to do is make a dredge. We've never made that on the show yet, but it's a very simple technique. It sounds daunting, but it's not. Dredge. No, it's not. It's literally just mixing up some eggs, mixing up some flour, and some spices, whatever you want to put in it, and just dipping and dipping and dipping and dipping and frying. Super simple. You don't even have to dip it that many times. Seriously. So we're going to take 2 eggs, or depending on how much you have, it doesn't really matter. And just give them a mix. Save the fork. And we're going to take about a cup of flour. That's what this is. And it's a nice sort of flat container that'll make it easier for dredging. And I took some Parmesan and I grated it up. This is sort of just, to taste, however you want it. And I'm going to put in some garlic powder. And you can put a little bit more in than you're expecting because it's only going to be like a coating. It's not going to, actually, I don't know. And we're going to put some onion powder in. And I'm going to put in some smoked paprika. Because I love smoked paprika. It's really good. And then we're going to go ahead and put in some salt and pepper. Oops. And I should have gotten a spoon to mix it up with. There we go. Just give it a quick mix. Make sure everything is mixed thoroughly through. Okay, and then we're going to start our dredge. Now I have paper towels out on a plate. If you'll remember from our French fry episode, that's just to catch the oil when we're done. But for now, I'm going to take those off and just use the plate by itself for post-dredging, just to store them until I pop them into the oil. So we're going to start with our egg. Should have used bigger bowl. Pop it in the flour. Now you can do this twice if you want. It's not going to hurt anything. But I just want to give it a nice light coating that'll flake up. And you can do it with your fingers if you want, that's fine too. So we're going to go ahead and get these stretched. Let's sort of plop a little bit of flour on. And then having the fork in here is nice because you can kind of the flour will kind of fall through the tines as you pick it up. Oop, if you pick it up. Now you don't want it to be too clumpy, so you can give it a little bit of a tap as you're going. You don't want it to be all flour or big globs of flour on it, because that won't fry it right. No, it won't taste very good either. You get the basic idea. Let me just check on our oil temperature. Oh yeah, that's a little too high actually, so I'm going to turn that down a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and finish these, and we'll be back in just a minute to pop them in the oil. Okay, we are back with our stove view. I don't know. I get way too excited about this. Anyway, so we have our oil nice and hot now, and as you can see I had to switch pans because I'm not sure how I did it, but I managed to break my thermometer, and I don't think it had mercury in it, but I stuck it outside just to be on the safe side. I don't know. So now we have my big sauce pot, which is fine because it has more room, and we've got our zucchini, and we're going to go ahead and start just laying these in. Alright, you want this to be about 350 degrees or so. That's a good deep frying temperature. And this is not, I don't think this is quite that. It's about medium-high heat. I can't tell exactly what temperature it is because I no longer have a thermometer. Oh. So we're just going to kind of toss these in. They should be bubbling more than what they are, but it's okay. The oil will heat up a little bit. There we go. Now they're starting to bubble. Yeah, like I said, this is about medium-high heat. And we want them to have a nice bubble around them to cook them, but not so much that they cook on the outside and don't cook on the inside, if that makes sense. There we go. That looks pretty good. So right about where we need to be. And they should be about done cooking when they start to rise up to the surface. And this will take a little bit longer than our French fries did, probably. But hang in there, it'll be tasty. Probably, I don't know. I had this idea at like 11 o'clock last night, right before, as I was falling asleep. I was like, I should make fried zucchini since I'm making all other types of zucchini. And okay. Since I can't shut my brain off, I decided, okay, we'll just make fried zucchini. See how it goes. There we go. This is also how to make fried chicken, by the way. the dredge. I mean, the frying too, because it's fried chicken. But dredging it like this is also how you make fried chicken. You can put it in flour, you can put it in panko. It's really about, you know, getting the spices right on the chicken. And usually with chicken, we do like a double dredge, just to make sure everything's covered. And then pop it in hot oil. But again, not too hot because you don't want the outside to cook before the inside has. The technique I have not quite figured out yet, but I'll keep practicing. Yeah, that's looking very nice. Ooh, yeah, don't do that. Hot oil is hot. Do not splash on face. Okay, there we go. That's what I wanted to see. Now the trick is cutting these thin enough so that they cook in a nice time frame and can get crispy, but not so much so that they get too brown and too crispy on the outside. Keep checking on them. Notice the color of the skin is going to get a little bit lighter as they go. They're going to get a little bit crispier. They're going to get a little bit browner. It's going to take a bit. I'm being impatient. Keep checking on. It's looking good. I just need to brown. I think they're cooked enough. They just kind of let them in there until they brown. Starting to get nice and flaky, a little bit golden brown there. That's pretty good. That's what we're looking for. They're starting to smell really good too. So we're gonna start taking these out. And put them on a paper towel over here to dry them off. I hope you can see that on camera. Lift it up for just in case. There we go. Okay. And we can start with the next batch. And I'm doing these in small batches because of the dredge, the topping that's on them. We don't want to do the French fries were a little bit different because we didn't have anything coating them. They were frying up on their own. And these, we don't want to stick too many of them in there so they don't stick together. We want to make sure they cook on all sides. Okay. And that's why I keep moving them around, just to make sure nothing is sticking. Nothing is like on top of each other. Like these two. Get out of there, you. Ah! And, you know, Be sure to kind of flip them over as you're going, just to make sure that all sides get, oops, sure stuck together a little bit, that all sides get cooked as evenly as you can. And something really delicious to do is find your favorite marinara and dip them in, and it is absolutely delicious. It's one of my favorite appetizers. Whenever I order appetizers from a restaurant, I do love some zucchini, some fried zucchini sticks. I think they are delicious. That's actually pizza sauce. I just, with all the rest of the cooking, I didn't have time to make sauce. Which will be on the show if my tomatoes ever turn red, which is, I don't know. I mean, it has to happen eventually, right? I got to put some fertilizer in and hopefully clean out some of the, trim off some of the excess leaves, and hopefully that'll push enough nutrients into the tomatoes to brown them, to red them, to turn. Oh my God! Oh, I'm not prepared for this today. These are browning. Those need to turn red. If your tomatoes are turning brown, don't eat them. I mean, I don't have to say that, right? But anyway, we will get to be making sauce on here sometime. I have to do it. Smaller ones are going to cook a little faster, obviously, than some of the larger ones. So, you know, keep an eye on things. Keep them moving. Keep flipping them. Looking a little nice and brown there. Oh, shit. I just realized Funsit with zucchini sounds kind of dirty. I came up with that yesterday. It took me over 24 hours to realize that. I didn't mean it like that. I just like eating zucchini. I didn't mean it like that either. You guys are dirty. Oh my God. Okay. You will make a mess. You will get this all over your fingers. I have it all over my floor. You missed the last of the dredging, where I was shooting flour out onto the floor. So that's fun. But you know what? It is worth it. It is just a super easy, quick way to make things extra tasty. This is definitely not what I envisioned myself doing for half an hour. It's not a half an hour. It feels way longer than that, but it's only been probably, what, 10 minutes? Yeah, but it's early August. This is not what I envisioned myself doing in early August. Whew. Oh my God, cook faster. It's so warm in here. Ah! I'm gonna go stick my head in the freezer in between takes. Yeah, it's good enough. Oh my God, hurry up. actually, you know, I've been making a lot of comparisons to our French fries episodes, but zucchini is not nearly as dense as sweet potatoes or regular russet potatoes. So these definitely have been cooking quite a bit faster, which is nice. Especially some of the smaller pieces. Okay. Oh, last batch, thank goodness. Oh, that's two. And you can see some of these on the bottom are getting a little goofy. Some of the dredging has come off. You can just, you know, give it a quick redredge with what's on the plate. That's fine. It's all good, however you want to do it. And as you can see, the oil looks a little gunky. That's just from all of the flour and the egg cooking off and browning, making it look browner or darker. So sometimes you can reuse oil depending on the type of oil that you use. Not so much canola oil. Stuff like peanut oil is pretty reusable as long as it's clean. A lot of restaurants will use it multiple times. Like, I just don't fry stuff enough to make it worthwhile to keep it sitting on my stove. But with something like this, I wouldn't want to reuse it because there's a lot of gunk in there. I mean, it's fine for what we're doing, but I wouldn't want to make like funnel cakes or something in there. Which I do sometimes do when I make French fries. I'll reuse the oil and make funnel cakes. Which is going to be another episode on the show. That should be pretty fun. Okay, we're down to our last two here. And this one's really big, so it's going to take a little bit still, I think. Whew. I would not recommend doing that in the middle of summer because it is very warm in here. So, whew. Let's see, where am I at here? Hi! Alright. Oh, it's even hotter down here. I'm going to move the camera back over across the kitchen, and we're going to move on to our entree, our stuffed zucchini. In just a second, I'm going to get stuff cleaned up here, and we'll be right back. We are back with our entree, and we're going to cut up this giant thing. Oh my god, this weird giant alien zucchini, I think. So, okay, we are making Italian stuffed zucchinis. Now, you want to make sure your Italians are nice and ripe when you pick them. Now, okay, so we have giant zucchinis. We have 4 cloves of garlic, and that's me coming up with this recipe. So, you know, you can put more garlic in, but I already put a lot of garlic in. That tends to be what I do. I over garlic. We're gonna get some panko breadcrumbs, melted butter, some Parmesan. I have some fresh herbs that I'm gonna cut up. You can use dry herbs for this too. I use basil, oregano, and rosemary for this. And then we have bacon bits and some salt and pepper to taste. Now, yeah, we better get these cut up first. So I have one slightly large one, and just, oh my god, this thing is going to take forever to cook. Okay, it'll be delicious, but it'll take forever to cook. Okay. I already cut up some zucchini with this, so that's why it looks not entirely clean. So we're going to start along this ridge here. Try to keep it in the middle. You want 2 pretty equal halves. You can just score it before you actually cut. This may actually be too big for this knife. Oh my god. Oh, I need to break my chainsaw out for this. Oh my god. There we go. Okay, this thing is gigantic. Look at the seeds on that. Oh my god. Yeah, we're going to be saving those. These are gigantic. Alright, and we're going to cut our smaller one. Here. Which is much easier. Okay. There we go. And my spoon out, which I forgot when I was cleaning up. Alright, now I have my small paring knife. And what we're going to do is very, very carefully. Oh wait, actually, I almost forgot something. Before I do that, alright. You want to cut off the stem bottom and the stem top. But you want to make sure that you don't cut too much because we're going to need this whole area in here for structural integrity. You'll see what I mean. Now, how many YouTube cooking shows talk about the structural integrity of zucchini? You'd miss me if I were here. Admit it. Okay. There we go. Oof. Okay. Now then, we're going to take our small knife, and you can see right in here where, well, this does come down a little bit close, but we should be okay. But we have all this room up here, so we're going to just, I don't know if you can tell on the screen, but it's this white part here, right in around here, right where their seeds are. It's a lot lighter than the green skin. That's going to be the area where we're going to score around. Now do this very carefully because you can easily slice through the whole zucchini and into your hand. I don't know that from personal experience or anything. Like, if there's a way for me to cut myself doing something stupid in the kitchen, believe me, I have done it. Okay, there we go. Just gonna give it a nice score, just so we don't pull out too much with the spoon. These are going to be a little bit easier to work with, but they're also a lot thinner, so you need to be a little bit more careful. There we go. And see, it ends right about there. Go right there. There. Now, traditionally you would be doing this down on the cutting board where you would not have to be holding this, but I'm doing this for the camera so you can see what I'm doing. I know my camera is not always super clear. Okay, well, we have survived scoring and cutting our zucchini and still have all of our fingers, so I consider that a win. Now we're going to just take a tablespoon, a normal soup spoon, and just start carving out the inside of these. And I don't know if you can see these, but these are huge, just wonderful seeds. We're going to talk about that in an upcoming episode of Florimegoria, but for now, don't throw these out. Not only can you cook with them, well, I mean, I made roasted pumpkin seeds last year, and it was delicious, and I'm sure you can do it with zucchini. Probably all of the squashes. But also, since I left this on the vine too long, and it got gigantic, those are going to be some nicely developed seeds. So we can dry them and use them to grow heirloom zucchini for next year. I do that a lot. I have seeds drying all over the house. Half the time I forget to label them, and then it's like 6 months later. What were these? I don't know. 6 months later, when I inevitably drop them and they scatter on the floor and I can't find them all. Excuse the bizarre edit. My camera battery died. So we're going to pick up where we left off. I'm finishing up scooping out the guts of these guys. Just, get all of this, make sure you get all the seeds out. It's not even that big of a deal, honestly. They'll cook down. Like, it couldn't just last for 10 minutes. It had to die right in the middle of my zucchini disemboweling. Kind of like when you cut up a jack-o'-lantern and you just sort of pull all the seeds and viscera out. Now these you want to be a little bit more careful because you don't have the depth that you have with these. So you can just kind of go crazy. You want to make sure you don't take it down too much because you do not want to cut through the bottom of it. You just want to do enough so that you get the seeds out. And yeah, you can make a bit of a mess with this. There's a lot of stuff you're digging out. But if you have compost, if you keep compost, you can just toss it right in there. It'll break down very nicely. But definitely take the seeds out first. Okay. The first part of the prep work is done. All right, now we can move on to the filling. Ah. Okay. Actually, I'm going to put these in here first. They might fit. Kind of. Oh, I actually forgot something. What I like to do is I take the bottom and I take my vegetable peeler and I just give it a quick slice off just to flatten it out a little bit so they don't roll around where they're cooking. And with something like this, it has a bit of a knobbly end, just to even it out a little bit. Of course, these are so big that they're kind of shoved together pretty tight on the tray, so I don't think we really have to worry about it. But for smaller zucchinis, it's actually not a bad idea. Just give it a little bit of a flatten, or a little bit of a slice, and you'll be able to flatten off the ends of there. Okay. It kind of works. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a half a cup of panko. Go ahead and put that in. And 4 cloves of garlic. It's already a lot of garlic. You can put more garlic. You can put less garlic in if you want to. You never catch me doing that, but... Okay. And this is a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Now, you can grate up a big block of Parmesan like this, like we use for our fried zucchini. I tend not to like that. I like larger pieces, and I found this stuff. It's finely shredded. A 6-cheese Italian style blend. It's mozzarella, provolone, Parmesan, Asiago, Fontina, and Romano. And I kind of like it. I have Parmesan. I have Parm up on the board. You can use Parm. You can use this if you want. You can use mozzarella. It might get a little gooey, but it might be pretty good. But I just think this gives it a little bit extra flavor. But whatever you feel comfortable with is okay. So we're going to do a half a cup of that. And bacon bits. Make sure you get the real bacon bits, not the soy bacon, the fakin' bacon. And you can kind of just put in however much you feel like. Maybe just put in about a fistful. I like bacon. Okay. And we have, oh, this is a mess. 2 tablespoons of rosemary. 2 tablespoons of oregano. And 2 tablespoons of basil. I picked these off my plants before I started shooting today and gave them a rinse off. And we're just going to kind of give them a quick cut up. What I like to do is I kind of just stack them up. No one will be seated for the exciting basil stacking scene. Okay. And just give them a slice and a half. Turn. And put a nice little mince there. Now you notice my, hopefully you can see it, my handy dandy finger position. Always cut like this. You don't want to cut like this because you'll cut like this. So make sure when you're cutting, keep your fingers straight like this. I actually make shields. A friend of mine posted it on Facebook not too long ago, where you can like kind of put it on your finger like that, so you don't worry about cutting yourself. And I think that is actually kind of a good idea. If you have trouble remembering good knuckle placement when you're cutting things, that's definitely a good idea. Help build muscle memory, so it becomes a little bit more natural for you. Okay, you just kind of cut that up nicely. And like I said, you can use dried herbs too. It's less cutting involved, less prep work. And I'm going to take my rosemary and just pull the tines off. You don't need one of those herb thingies where they have the little holes in them and you stick the herbs through. You can just do this by hand. Those things are, I mean, you can't do it by hand, and yeah, they're helpful, but you don't need it because your hands work. Just use your fingers. Now these don't have to be neat or precise. You're going to be getting cooked down. Let's give them a little bit of a chop up. There we go. And if you can hear, my neighbor's dogs are going crazy about something outside. I don't know what's going on. They're loud. Alright, and 2 tablespoons of oregano. Do the same thing, just pull them off in reverse. This actually might be a little bit more than 2 tablespoons. I just grabbed some. It's starting to rain outside, so I just kind of pulled some off. It's like, yeah, that works. That's fine. This is all in piece. These get a little bit more difficult. Just kind of have to grab them all together and shuck them, I guess. Would that be the right word? Shucking? I don't know. I don't think so. Another chop up. And now we have a third of a cup of melted butter. Now, some of these are a little bit more than what I have on the board, just because of the giant nature of the zucchini. So I actually have more than what's listed, just so I can actually, stuff it and not make it look sad. Give it a quick mix. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm gonna do. Hold on a second. Oh my god. I can't use the butter grinder or the salt grinder because my hands are covered with butter. Okay, let's try that again. Throw a little bit of salt and pepper in there to taste. And then I'm going to do it again over here on our zucchini. You know what? I'm going to just trim off the very top of these. Try to make it fit a little bit better. It has been a challenge with these giant zucchini. Okay, so we are going to preheat our ovens. We probably should have already done that. And I don't remember what I'm supposed to preheat it at, so... Oh, I think it's 350. I don't know where my notes are. Give me a second. Okay, apologies for that. You want to cook it for about 400 for about 20 minutes in the middle of the oven, and then we're going to move it up to the top of the oven, right underneath the broiler, and just so these can get a little bit brown, and that's only going to be for about 5 minutes, because it should be cooked through by then. But a note about this, as you can see, 2 of these halves are gigantic, and 2 of them are a little bigger than a bit more on the average side. So they're going to cook at different speeds. So what you might want to do is put in 2 of these for like 10 to 15 minutes, and then put the smaller ones in and cook it all for another 20 minutes, just so that you don't have half of them overcooked and the other half undercooked. But really, I mean, I don't know. Don't let your zucchini get this big. This is insane. Oh my god. Okay, so let's stuff our stuffed zucchini. I'm gonna stop talking. And all I do is just line it in that crevice. There we go. I'm gonna fill these in a little bit more, just to make sure I have enough for everything. There we go. Like I said, I actually made more of this than I have on the recipe, just so I could have enough, but I still don't quite have enough, so. Normally I make these like heaping, but yeah, I gotta make more filling. I'll do that one wrong. So you can see what they really need to look like. I'll do that in between cuts. Because the magic of editing! Whee! And some of this I got sort of fell in between. Okay. So my oven is preheating right now. And that's about all there is to it. Leave it in for about 25 minutes. As I said, 20 minutes, move it up, let it cook for another 5 minutes or so, let the breadcrumbs get nice and brown. And then we'll be good to go. And I will see you in about, half an hour. Alright. Okay, we're back. It's been a little longer than about 25 minutes because I had those giant things I had to go through. So, looks like they're about done now. I'm going to go ahead and pull them out. There we go. And you can take your paring knife and just do a little cut through, see if it's done. And yeah, they seem pretty good. These are definitely done, the small ones. And that, oh god, it smells amazing. It's nice and brown on top. That's exactly what we're looking for. So, those are good to go. We can go ahead and set those over here. And then get started on our last recipe of the day, our zucchini bread. So, what you want to do, we're going to go ahead and, I'm going to preheat the oven to 330 degrees, and you should probably preheat to about 450, excuse me. And then, alright, we're going to go ahead and take a grapefruit, yeah, oh, it's been a long day. Go ahead and take one of our zucchinis and a grater. Don't take the skin off, and you want to find a grater that has the largest holes in it, because we want nice, coarse, grated zucchini. I already grated some earlier, so I wouldn't have to do it on camera. But, some butter here. Alright, and then I know a lot of recipes have you grating your zucchini into a towel and squeezing it out, but we don't need to do that. You don't necessarily need to do that with any recipe, as long as you have a proper, you don't overdo the wet ingredients, because that can happen very easily. I've done it in the past, and it's kind of a nightmare. It looks horrible. It doesn't raise. It's a mess. But in this recipe, you don't have to do any extra squeezing juice out of zucchini. It's just not that big of a deal. It really isn't. If you want to, all you need to do is take your grated zucchini, put it in a towel, roll the towel up, and just squeeze it, and all the excess water should come out. But seriously, don't even worry about it. And don't worry about skinning it either. Just grate it as is, with the skin on. There's a lot of nutrients. That's where all the nutrients are, like apples, you know. You want to leave the skin on because that's where the good stuff is. And it'll just melt into the rest of the batter like the flesh does. So really don't need to worry about that. But we're going to go ahead and get started. We need 2 bowls, one for wet ingredients, one for dry ingredients. And what we're going to do first is take some butter. Just a stick of butter. This is actually salted butter. It's fine. But we're going to butter our pan, and we're going to flour it this time. Make it a little bit easier to get our loaf out. And this is a very small loaf. It's only maybe about this big. Just because it's a lot. It's very heavy. There's a lot to it. You don't need a big loaf, but if you can easily double up the recipe to make a larger loaf, or to make multiple small loaves if you want. Whatever you want to do is fine. Okay. And then we are going to take, I forgot to put flour out. So we're going to take a little bit of flour that we're going to put in there. Just sprinkle it around. And the flour's going to stick to the butter. And make sure that you, that's not. As you can see, get a little bit more. Now you don't want excessive flour on there, but you don't want to hit it so much that it will knock off what you have in there. And I didn't do a very good job with the butter. You can see holes in the flouring. but so I'm just kind of trying to do it quick. So that'll just help it release easier from the pan. You can do parchment paper in there too, that works. Or you can just leave it buttered like we have in the past, that works too. But we're going to start by mixing a cup of flour. It doesn't want to come out for some reason. I'm having technical difficulties. I may need to put more flour in. Alright. And then we have, this is combined baking powder and baking soda. This is a teaspoon of baking powder, which is baking soda and cream of tartar, and then an extra half a teaspoon of just plain baking soda. Okay. And then about a half a teaspoon of salt, or a quarter teaspoon if you don't want it to be salty. I know I tend to cut down on salt quite a bit. And then, where is it? What is it? A teaspoon of cinnamon. Okay. And those are our dry ingredients. Give that a mix up. Okay, now we're going to go turn to our wet ingredients. And that's going to be our egg. 1 egg. Try to leave it out for a little bit so it hits room temperature. We're going to go ahead and take that down real quick. And then 3/4 cup of brown sugar. And a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay. Go ahead and give that a mix. Now, if you remember when we made chocolate chip cookies, we're saving this large stuff for later. We're going to be folding it in gently. Okay. Get this mixed up. Try to get the sugar broken down a little bit. Go ahead and toss in 1 cup of our grated zucchini. So it's 1 egg, 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of zucchini. Get it out of the glass. Alright, I took a quick edit because I needed to put in a little extra flour. Because I remembered I put in, I had a tiny little bit of zucchini left, so I figured I would just grate it up, and it's a little bit more than a cup of zucchini. Alright, so we're going to take our spoon and just gently fold in the zucchini to the batter. A couple gentle stirs. And then we're going to go ahead and start adding our dry ingredients. A little bit at a time. And you don't want to mix it too much because you need to be a little bit careful with the zucchini in there. You don't want to mash it all up yet. The cooking process will do that itself. We don't need to help. Just stir very gently. Now, be careful not to overmix it, just make sure everything is combined. And then add our, what is that, 3/4 of a cup of chocolate chips. You could put more in. And give a very quick couple of stirs just to make sure it's combined in there evenly. Okay, now comes the fun part. We can take our nice floured pan and just pour batter in. It's gonna look a little weird at this stage, but trust me, it'll look really good by the time we're done and be extremely delicious. My partner Dan had never had zucchini bread before, so I made my test batch this weekend, and he went crazy for it. He ate it all. I think I had one piece, and he ate the rest of it within about 2 days. So I consider that a nod of approval. You can just even it up a little bit. There we go. Alright, nothing to it, right? So we're going to go ahead and cook this. Well, I'm going to be cooking it in my oven. I figured it out as about, 330 degrees for about 35 minutes. You're going to want to cook it around the same time, probably close to about 400. I haven't tried it with a large oven. But some people say 350 for an hour in a regular sized oven. That doesn't seem right. But, you know, experiment with it. See what works for you. So we're going to pop this in, and I will be back in about 35 minutes to take it out and check on our progress. So we'll see you then. Okay, we are back. It's been, I don't know how long it's been. The clock in my house doesn't work right now. It's been however much time I said before we took a break to let this cook that I said it needed to cook. So yeah, it's been that long. So we're going to go ahead and pull it out and check it. And it looks really good, and it smells really good. So we're going to do our knife test. The knife in the middle, and if it comes out clean, it's cooked the whole way through, and it looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and slice it around. Now this might not come out super clean because I messed up on buttering and flouring the corners, but we're going to do our best here. There we go. Actually, that came out really well. Okay. Let me try a bread knife. The top is a little tough just from cooking, but it is nice and moist and chocolatey on the inside. That looks really good. Now, well, there you have it. We have our lovely zucchini dinner. Our appetizer, our entree, and our dessert, all made out of zucchini, and it's delicious. And it smells so good in here right now. Oh my god. So, I think that's about it for today. We did a lot of cooking today. We made a lot of stuff, and it's all delicious. So, if you grow too many zucchini, or if your neighbors decide to show up and leave a box of zucchini on your porch, you know what to do with them. So I think that's about it for today. Thank you so much for joining me now at my my return episode from my sabbatical. Thank you guys for sticking with me and coming back and giving this a watch. I really appreciate it. And this has been Kitchen Witchin', coming to you from the Ugliest Kitchen in America. I'm your host, Susie Bianco, and happy cooking, guys. We'll see you next time.